On this episode of the Star Trek Universe podcast, we are talking about Star Trek Picard, episode 102, Maps and Legends, right after this.
Welcome to the Star Trek Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
I am David C. Robertson.
How are you, David?
I am okay.
Yeah?
How are you?
I am also okay. It is in the middle of the night, as we do for these Picard episodes, because that's when they drop it, and I want to see it immediately. Right. So I'm a little sleepy, a little punchy tonight.
A little punchy?
Well, yeah.
How, punchy how?
You know, just kind of like, whoa, a little woozy, a little, like I've been punched around by the world, by being awake too long. But let's talk about Picard. There's a lot happens this episode. A lot more exposition than I was expecting, honestly.
Yeah.
I think you sound a little like I feel. We have not talked at all.
We haven't talked about
this at all, but I think you're sounding like I'm feeling. I am not super jazzed on this episode.
I'm not either, and I was having trouble paying attention.
Ooh, yikes!
I was having trouble paying attention, and that was before they shoved the Discovery Enterprise 1701 down my throat. And I know you don't care about aesthetics, but to me, that they didn't need to even show that. It could have just been completely independent of Discovery. So now they're just trying to... I feel like they're just flipping me off and basically saying, your version of the Enterprise didn't exist. Discovery's version of the Enterprise 1701 is the one that existed.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't even tell.
I absolutely could.
It happened so fast, and I probably couldn't tell if you put them side by side, honestly. Well, I mean, I probably could.
I mean, not very well. At one glance at those nacelle struts, man, I was just like, ugh. Not that I think the Discovery Enterprise is a bad-looking ship. It's not. It's just give me some room to like headcanon Discovery into another universe. And now for me, I have to headcanon Picard into an alternate universe.
Yeah,
where this is not Prime anymore for me.
Okay,
so I care way less. Wow. I could not.
Yikes.
I could barely give a shit at this point.
I feel a little disappointed by this episode, but for very different reasons.
Yeah.
I think this episode introduced a few things that I'm really not excited about. Namely, the whole idea of the Federation not being the Federation is great. I really like the idea that Federation went through a trauma and that it has caused them to retreat into sort of xenophobia and, protectionism. Like that is a fascinating human story that I wanted them to tell. And now, full spoiler alert, we're getting into this episode. Now we're getting this Zhat Vath. And and it's a different kind of story. This feels like Hydra, This feels like there's this evil cabal in the background, and there's a Vulcan who
it's Romulan Section 31.
Well, agreed, but I thought we were getting something a little more interesting. Not that I don't enjoy a good Section 31 story, but often Section 31 functions best in like an episode or as like a background element. I don't really need that to be the entire thrust of this series, and I still don't know what it is. And I had this whole mystery in my head of like who had the motivation to do this. And I had this idea of like the Romulans, like being willing to kind of cut off their nose to spite their face, because they were willing to let lots of Romulans die just to like keep the Federation from knowing all their secrets. Like that all seemed interesting. And now it seems like there's a weird cabal that just hates AIs. Like that goes way back hundreds of years.
And I hate that like they brought it up. They're like, oh, they know a truth and they hate a thing. So they know this thing so much that like if they spoke it to you, it'd drive you mad. And it turns out the thing is just like, we don't like androids.
I think there might be more to it than that.
I certainly hope.
If I had to guess a truth about AIs that could drive a man mad. If I had to guess, we're going with like the preservers created all life and it's all synthetic. Like we're all synthetic.
I mean, you're just kind of grabbing that out of nowhere.
Sure. But like,
I would love it if that was true.
Yeah. Like that, they seeded the universe or whatever, right? So like, what if that's the answer that like we have this entire season where we're like hating on everyone's hating on synthetics are this, and then the real secret of the Zhat Vath that they've known since the beginning of time or whatever, a much older secret is that everyone is AI.
Right.
That's a secret that would drive you mad because it makes you question your own life and your own existence. Like that's where my mind went. So I think there's going to, maybe it'll be that. That's definitely a leap, but it could be something like that. It could be something different, but I hope there's something more because that just the fact that they don't like AIs to me seems. Yeah, that doesn't seem like a big enough secret to drive them mad. It also immediately puts them as a huge suspect, if not like a glaring, obvious suspect for the Utopia Planitia incident. Mm-hmm. Especially knowing that they're as embedded in the Federation now as they are.
Oh, yeah.
Also, this is I'm going to talk about the Countdown comics for about 30 seconds. So if you have not read the Countdown comics, I read issue 3 today, and I just want to point something out from the last panels of that. So feel free to hit that skip forward 30 seconds button. But the Countdown comic number 3 that came out today ended. The sort of like last shot of the comic was LaForge on Mars talking to Picard. And I thought that was going to be a mystery. Or like we were going to later find out. And then they opened it on Mars. I thought that's so neat. They're weaving it all together. Then we didn't get LaForge. And then it still isn't a mystery if he's dead or not because Picard mentions him. So like I thought they were really doing something intense with the canon, like weaving the comic into the canon. And they definitely did not. Like it's not a mystery at all. LaForge is alive.
Yeah.
We know he was on Mars, but now we know he survived, even though
they actively mention him as a person who is alive, and he's like, "Oh yeah, any one of them would help me." But I need like, oh, okay.
So yeah, I mean, and I'm glad LaForge is alive. I think the comic was teasing that he might be dead, but I thought that was a tease because we were going to like find out he wasn't in some dramatic way. But instead, they just mentioned it offhand. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that was not a thing. Anyway,
guess what? I don't feel compelled at all to read.
The Countdown, right? Yeah. So anyway, like I said, for completely different reasons. Also, I really, really hated the Star Trek CSI that we got with his Tal Shiar friends. It was like kind of the worst of all the technobabble, you know?
Yeah, I was unclear about what those machines were supposed to be doing. Were they just picking up, like, was it like temporal signatures?
Yeah, I missed some of the wording, but it was like Romulan tech magic, which it was technobabble in a way that like was beyond what even TNG would do, where it was just like, hey, here's a magic box that you have no idea how it works, and now we're saying it's not working, so that means this, and it's like, okay, I'm not able to follow the clues that are happening here at all. This is bad CSI is what this is. And I mean, nothing in there was like so glaring. I can suspend disbelief still. It's not destroying my disbelief, but I just don't like it. Like I like to be able to follow what's going on. I like when a character decides to do something interesting to solve a case, I like to be able to solve it with them. And when you answer it all through technobabble, that's some of my least favorite things about Star Trek are those things. It's like the first episode of Picard was my favorite stuff from Star Trek, and this brought in elements that's some of my least favorite, like how everything's always a cabal, and it's instead of like just humans like screwing up the Federation, you know? Yeah. So anyway, that all being said, there are some good points in this episode.
I'm not sure that I could be pressed to give you what those are right now.
I definitely can.
Go for it.
For one thing, why do you want to go out in the cold now that you know? And he's like, it's now that I know now that he knows he's dying. He only has 3 seasons to live, Dave.
Oh, yeah.
And that's sorry, that's a bad joke, I guess.
Well, it's not my Picard.
Oh man, you're gonna have yeah, that's no fun. You're gonna have to resolve that within yourself somehow.
No, this is like Discovery Picard. He's not real.
All right, well, I completely disagree with that, and I think we gotta. It's all one universe. Sorry, man. I think that just confirms that just confirms that there was a refit of the Enterprise that looked like that.
It just no. That's not a real thing.
It does. But anyway, regardless of that, I don't think I just want to talk about the story elements. But like, yeah, it's bad because it messed up in both your way and my way. The ways that like drove us towards things we don't like.
Well, also like my way is your way as well. It was just they didn't introduce your way stuff really until they introduced my stuff.
Right.
Like,
so you
my stuff had already been a little bit, but I was still just kind of being like, really? Okay. Yeah.
Right.
And it was kind of a rough episode.
Yeah, kind of was. It just started to feel very, like there's these mustache twirling villains. Now, I say all of that. Also, they keep solving mysteries that I expected to be mysteries longer. Like, I know in the first scene they mention where are the others talking to Daj. So I in the first scene of the first episode, and so I was presuming that there are other androids, and also the 5 queens that Data laid down made me think more androids. On a second viewing, we didn't talk about this last week, but on a second viewing, the 5 queens, I was like, oh, there's got to be more than just Daj and Soji. There's probably a lot of these androids, and possibly more that look like her, but possibly not. Possibly there's 2 of each. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that'd be kind of neat. There's just like these twins out in the world. But what I think would at this point, what I think would be interesting is if this cabal is right. Like, if these androids that Maddox made, at least he made the first few. Now, they may have gone on to make others themselves. Maybe they do have a plot to bring down, to do something bad. And, like, that's, to me, like, that's the only way this cabal thing will be interesting to me, is if it turns out we watch them all season do the bad stuff, and then it turns out it was all justified. But I don't really like that because I like Daj so much. I want to like Soji or Soji.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I also don't fully understand the artifact. Do you have any idea what's going on the artifact?
It seems like it's clearly like a board vessel that was disconnected from the collective.
We get that.
It looks like they're dismantling and killing Borg.
But Soji's apparently hoping for a resurrection, as he said. So she's hoping that she can bring the Borg back, or turn them back into humans, or whatever race they are. The thing that doesn't make sense to me is it just seemed they talked about how all the people that are going into this Borg cube have different purposes. Like it seemed like a free for all. Like, some people are here for this reason, some people are here for this reason. He's naming all these different reasons, and it's like it seems like the Romulans are in control of this vessel. And
they actively said that.
The Romulans are like, historically and in this episode, over and over mentioned that they're like the super secretive people. So why are the Romulans allowing a bunch of people with all kinds of purposes and reasons to go into this site?
Possibly because they don't have their own people to do it anymore. They don't have a whole lot of people left.
Yeah,
I think maybe.
I think that's probably true. But even still, I would think they'd be like keep control over what's going on, which maybe they are. But the way he said it, it sounded like, yeah, they're all going in there for different things and different reasons.
Yeah,
that seemed weird to me, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the. I don't know what the point is.
I don't either. I don't know what. Well, we do know that they're taking Borg technology and using it for profit. Is it profiting off of Borg technology?
Right.
So I don't know what they mean by profit. I guess I don't know anything about Romulan's economic system.
Mm-hmm.
Are they more Ferengi-like? Are they just using it for profiting, as in they're using it for their own weaponry and stuff? Cause that's interesting.
They could go anywhere with it because we really don't know much about Romulan culture.
Yeah.
Not in canon, anyway.
I mean, you can add secret to anything they do.
Yeah,
secret police is redundant. Sorry, just quoting the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Just over here quoting the episode.
Right.
Let me ask you this. And you're going to hate this idea. You're going to hate it so much. Oh, man, you're going to hate it. I'm relishing this moment before you get so angry, because this is maybe the last moment of slight happiness you have while we talk tonight.
Yeah.
Do you think they will tie whatever this AI that is that the Jadvash.
Jadvash.
Have it written
whatever,
down.
I guess. Or Jadvash. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oshkosh, Bagosh. I don't know.
Zhat. Yeah. Tal Shiar is a beautiful word. I kind of wish they just kept calling them the Tal Shiar. Like, it's the inner circle of the Tal Shiar. You know, like, it's the real meaning. It's the real. Jadvash is not easy to say. not right. A very beautiful word. Okay. So, my question is, do you think if this AI, I like my idea better, but do you think this distant AI that the Romulans have such a hatred for could be related to control?
Yep. I joked about it last week that they were going to somehow patch this back to control, and I really do. I think they're going to. I think they will.
They might. Control is for those of you who have not followed along Discovery, Control is an AI from Discovery. I think they'd be insane to do that. I really do, because so many people who are watching this show have not watched that and don't want to watch that. Mm-hmm. But that may be their exact game plan. Like, they might be trying to tie it together so everyone has to go watch Discovery. But I don't think that's what'll happen. I think it's clear from two huge Star Trek fans who are here for this that we're not going to stand it forever if they go too far from what we're looking for, you know?
Yeah, and I'm on the verge at this point. Like, I
don't want to belittle your struggles. I really don't.
You say that with full intention of belittling them.
Yeah, no. I just can't. I can't imagine myself bailing on a series that could be so good for that flash of the wrong Enterprise or whatever. But I get it. I do. I hate. There are things if they messed up things that I cared about in canon, I'd be really upset.
Well, I care about everything in canon, you know.
Well, me and you, we've had this discussion many times in the podcast. I don't consider visual elements.
We have. I know. You don't care.
I don't care about that part of canon. So as much as you do, I care to some degree. I care if they go too far afield, but you have a distinct love for the very special designs, and I get it. I do.
Yeah, I care. I know. I feel like every series, as I've said before, every series honored the original series, the original set designs, the original ship designs, Those things mattered. Those things were canon. We had 24th century characters in that time frame walking around talking about how much they admired that old design. That design that, according to Discovery, is not even a real thing anymore. I don't care for that. I don't appreciate all of the work that all those designers and all those people who worked on the original series, I don't appreciate their work being thrown out and being made, quite frankly, much uglier. I don't get it. I don't like it. I can accept it as an alternate reality, but there was no reason for them to bring it in to Picard other than to give me the finger, basically. Give me and people like me the finger and say our version of Star Trek is the only version of Star Trek, except for that which we are directly referencing. They just don't care. They're thumbing their nose at us, and I don't appreciate it. And I don't know. I know I sound crazy. I know it's just a TV show. No one needs to write in and tell me it's just a TV show or, I'm crazy or whatever. Like, these things matter to me.
I get it. And if you're listening to this show, you're a Star Trek fan, there's a lot of Star Trek fans that feel that way. And I respect that form of the fandom. I don't feel that way, but the problem is I don't feel that way, and I still have pretty negative thoughts about this episode so far. Now, as I said, there are things that are really great, and I think the main thing that is really great is the Picard character and what he's going through. And I really do like what Picard is going through. I really like his conversation with the Commodore, I believe she was.
Okay.
They called her a Commodore. I really liked their conversation. I think there's an element to what she's saying that I think even Picard isn't sure. Picard doesn't fully even trust himself in this moment. Like he knows he was just told that he's starting to have mental breakdown from his, what is the syndrome he had in All Good Things?
All Good Things, it was the Irumodic syndrome.
Right.
Here, it could be any number of syndromes, but it is...
Right. Which is exactly what Crusher said in the episode in All Good Things. She said, you have an abnormality. It could eventually lead to worse abnormalities that could manifest as a number of different syndromes. And apparently he's still in that number of different syndromes. At least he doesn't know yet. So,
right.
But I think that him not sure if he can trust himself, ready to go out into the world again. And I loved the reference to him going to get Worf and Riker and LaForge, and he's like, I'm not going to do that to them again. But the time he really did that was this is so much like All Good Things. He has a mission. Yeah. The Federation doesn't trust him. They won't give him a ship. No one trusts him, so he could call up his friends, but he doesn't want to do that to them, which I thought was interesting. So I think a lot of what's going on with the Picard character is really interesting, but I just was really hoping that I would care about everything surrounding it. And I'm finding that I'm in this. I feel like they had two really good mysteries that they had laid in the first episode that they could have teased out. And in this episode, I feel like they solved both of them without any fanfare and without really making me feel the punch of those twists, which is we pretty much now know there are more androids. They called it the Nest, and they talked about her fellow abominations. I'm sorry, three mysteries. Let me go with three here. We have that one. We have the mystery of who is Narek working for. We now just know.
Yeah.
And I thought they were being coy with it at first when they were like, you need to go work with your partner or whatever. Or like get your subordinate under control. You go work with him in person. And then I thought they weren't going to reveal it maybe for an episode or two. Like she'd show up as a different character undercover, as they said, or something like that. We were supposed to make the connection, but no, she just holograms in. I was like, whoa. okay, I guess that's revealed. He's working for those people, which was kind of in the trailer, so we kind of knew it was coming. They just played ominous music while he's in bed with her in the trailer, like, so I just knew he was a bad guy, or at least a part of this Romulan cabal.
Yeah, you know what kind of annoyed me is when, like, Peyton List, Rizzo is talking to him, and she just, like, throws in that, calls him baby brother. Like, no one in the history of humanity actually calls their brother baby brother or anything like that. But in TV, they do it all the time as an expository, trope. It always bothers me. Like,
I do know people that call their brothers that or something very like that.
It's so dumb to me.
It's not something me or you do, but I do know people that do that. And it also elicits a certain, like, you get a sense of what the kind of character they are. It's always kind of a bubbly character that would do that. And I've known a few bubbly people that would do that, that have done that.
Peyton List is definitely not a bubbly person.
I knew a friend who called her, Peyton. Which one is that? I'm sorry. I don't know which character said that. I don't remember the baby brother line at all.
She is the Romulan who is undercover as a Starfleet operative who the Vulcan / Romulan Commodore sends to.
Okay. So she
works with the dude who's sleeping with the other android girl.
Right. Got it. Okay.
Also known as Golden Glider on The Flash. She was the third Poison Ivy on Gotham. She was in the CW Frequency series.
Oh yeah, I recognize her as Poison Ivy.
She was in Tomorrow People.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that's another one of the mysteries. The third mystery is, like, we pretty much have it confirmed that the androids were not acting in their own volition.
Right.
We pretty much had it confirmed they weren't sentient with the way that Android acted. I mean, not for sure, but it didn't seem so. They didn't seem as sentient as Data for sure. And then when right before he went crazy and killed everybody, there was a flash in his eyes that to me looked like some sort of programming.
Oh, absolutely. And as Joss Whedon has said, blinking lights mean science.
Yes. So then F8 goes crazy, and then the real confirmation that this is not a plot to free himself, which is kind of what we thought by the words rogue synths. He shoots himself in the head.
Yeah.
And so, like, all of that combined, like, proves to me that that's what's going on there. And with the idea that this Zatvash,
I don't think you've gotten it right one time.
Zatvash is what they keep saying. Zatvash. But that's what it said in the subtitles anyway.
Yeah, it's Romulan for not canon. So
the Zatvash, like, hate AI. And they, a lot of the Tal Shiar, at least in the comics, they don't like that the Federation is coming into their space and doing these ferries. A lot of them didn't believe the idea that the supernova was coming at all. There's that whole thing that's going on in the comic storyline, and it's like, yeah, it just seems to me like really obvious that the Zatvash did something to the AI or something to that effect because they hate AI so much. They hate AI so much they're willing to sacrifice tons of Romulan lives.
Right.
I'm sorry, lives. So I don't know, man. A lot of what they set up as mysteries in the first episode, I thought were going to be the mysteries of the season 1, and they just revealed them with no fanfare and no emotional impact. And I just don't know. I don't know what that means for this show. A lot of times I like when shows get past the little, like, small mysteries so we can get to the bigger ones. But those were the interesting mysteries to me, and I don't know. And now I'm not interested in the Zatvash, really.
Now it just feels like Picard is, on a journey with a deadline. The deadline being, his Irumodic syndrome or what have you.
Right.
And I don't particularly care.
Well, for you, it's just suddenly teleported into a different universe.
Well, there is that, but I would have still been... I think I still would have been kind of meh.
Right.
I was before they showed that.
What did you think of all the stuff with Narek and Soji? Their relationship, I guess?
So far is kind of cliche.
Sure.
It just feels like, an episode of The Blacklist or something. I'm just like, whatever. I don't really care.
Right. I get that.
It's clear that he's, like you were talking about, it's clear that he's a bad guy, or at the very least has a lot of secrets. And,
yeah, I really hope that that's a misdirect. That's the only, at this point, I feel like the only way they could go that'll make this interesting is that all this secrecy, all this like secrets that they're trying to keep, they have a good reason that makes some sort of logical sense that maybe the androids really are going to be bad or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man, but that would be kind of a betrayal of Data, So I don't know. I don't know what will make this. It feels like it spiraled into a weird place in this episode. I don't know where they go from here.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little weirded out by several things.
Okay,
and I guess I shouldn't be. Like, I don't know why I thought, and maybe it's just because Patrick Stewart's old, and it's so connected to Next Generation. But I thought that they probably wouldn't like have the same level of cursing that they do on Discovery, and this episode just blew that out of the water.
Oh yeah, I guess I didn't even notice the cursing.
We had 2 separate F-bombs.
Oh wow, I did not hear that.
I just kind of thought, well, okay.
I had the same thought with violence in the first scene. Again, yeah, we talked about it. We've talked about it when we talk about Discovery and how it's not a kid-friendly show. You can't watch it with your family.
That's right. Yeah.
I thought the show would be a little more friendly to that. Mm-hmm. And even the fight with Dodge dying was rough, but like the fight itself wasn't so crazy violent or at least bloody. But this, that first scene, he's like lasering through people with some sort of like mining tool. It looked like, it was not, that wasn't even like they're getting hit with phasers and falling down. It was really violent. That was rough. That was really rough.
How did you feel about Picard saying he never got science fiction?
I kind of loved that.
I just thought it was silly. Like,
it was very silly, but like it makes sense.
It makes way more sense to me that like Picard would understand like speculative fiction and that sense of the unknown and that human desire to explore and to see what was, in humanity's future. Like there's nothing to get if you're Picard. Like that's the life you live. Like that's the life that propels him.
That's the point. He's not looking, he doesn't need that in his fiction. That's his life. Like all that stuff is just real life to him now, especially all the stuff, they were looking at Asimov on the book, and it's like all that stuff about AI, like, he lived it. Like, why would he want to read that?
I mean, I get that part. I just, they're not getting it.
Well, I don't think
I would think he would get it, but maybe not enjoy it.
Well, that's what I think. That's all he meant by not get it. That's parsing words. When you say I don't get it, it just means you don't resonate with it or whatever. I think that's fine. I thought that was funny. It was just kind of a funny thing for him to say, and I thought it was a good joke. It was a very meta joke, clearly, but it was funny. I really liked one shot in this episode where they removed the eye, the Oculus. They did the Oculus harvest on the Borg because it was basically the exact shot of Picard getting his eye pierced. It was the tool coming down from the side angle. The camera's at the side angle. I really loved that. Just nice. It was just nice, like anti-assimilation or unassimilating a person. with that same motion. But that was really cool. Mm-hmm. So also this confirms the Borg are still out there.
Yeah.
Because the Borg collective is still a thing in this, even though this ship is being reclaimed or whatever.
Yeah.
So to end on a high note, I guess, I really do like everything they did with Picard. I liked, as I mentioned before, like, why do you want to go back out into the cold? And now that you know that you're sick, and he said, more than ever, now that I know, you know, and he basically is just a man with nothing to lose, and all he wants to be is relevant again. And so a minute later, when he's in the Commodore's office, and she says, "You're a pitiable man, desperate to matter." I think that hit Picard in a way that's like, yeah, maybe I am. Maybe that's what I am, you know? And not only is his like, maybe questioning his reality with all this stuff, because it's pretty far-fetched, and there's no evidence because it's all been scrubbed from the internet and stuff, or whatever, not internet, the feed. But it's also, you know, he really is desperate to matter. You know, it's basically what he had said to that guy two scenes ago.
Yeah,
I think that's compelling, and I like our main character having to struggle with those questions of whether he's right to be doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
And she says, "Do what you're good at. Go home." She's like, "Ooh, cold."
Yeah. I did not think that woman was particularly good at acting.
Huh. I didn't mind her.
But, you know, her words were good.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that. I liked that whole scene a lot. Well, do you have any quotes or trivia that you like to say?
No.
Okay, cool.
I don't have anything. They don't have anything really listed or anything, and I don't remember any quotes that I particularly felt strong about.
Right. I think that my favorite quote in the episode is "more now than ever knowing." Now that he knows, it's an awkward quote to say by itself, but just the fact that he's desperate to matter, and I think that's going to be a big part of his character going forward. I dug that a lot. Okay, well, I guess that's all for us, guys. I'll be back in the feed in a couple days with a song based on this episode, a Star Trek Picard song. I hope you got to catch the one from the other day. It's one episode back if you're interested. I wrote a song called Dodge about last week's episode. And also I put the full album, Earl Grey Hot, my Picard-focused album from kind of the history of Picard, up on the internet today, like fully mastered with full band and all that good stuff. So it's
good stuff.
It's fun. Thanks, man. Thank you. I'm really, really happy with it. And if you guys think that sounds interesting, go check it out. It's on SoundCloud under the Garage Earl Grey Hot, and it will be on Spotify and Apple and Google on February 21st. So I finally have a release date for it and everything. So that's very exciting. All right. Well, peace, everybody. Have a good night.
Live long and prosper.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.